You might be thinking with Trump now in power in the United States of America that this is not going to lead to a good relation with China. But does China really need the US? I'm currently one of the largest expos in the world, the CIIE. This is where companies from around the world want to come to work and open business in China, whether it's small or large. You can see around me now. Wow, there's a huge Russian section, but there are literally companies from every single country that you could think of. You've got a Korean one over there. Here we have some nice French wine from a fountain here. It's just here. It's just like one little section. There are 16 in total, and this is the best one. This is the food and drinks. But there are also lots of things like medical technology, artificial intelligence, fashion, you name it. Everyone wants to come to China. And so for me, listen, I don't care about the internal things in the US. I'm more bothered about what's going to happen in China. That's where I want to live. That's where I'm going to work after I graduate. I'm working in artificial intelligence. I decided China over the US. So I'm very interested to know what he's going to do. And he said a lot of things. He said a lot of strong things regarding China. However, someone who has voted in the past in the UK, I now know that election promises are not quite the same as the to-do list when they're in power. So I'm going to discuss those likely actions that Trump will take, especially regarding other countries. So I think the most obvious thing is fix the economy. He is a businessman after all. And so the first thing I think he's going to do is sort out Ukraine. This has been talked about a lot. So if he does reduce funding, or maybe he just stops the funding altogether, then I can also see him doing that with Taiwan. Okay, so Taiwan and America, they kind of have some relationship. So the US, they're selling a lot of weapons to Taiwan, even though previously they said they wouldn't do that. They literally made an agreement saying they would reduce it over time, but now they're increasing it over time. So I can definitely see them having a strained relationship. He previously said that he relies on Taiwanese chips a lot and that they have stolen their chip industry and that they actually owe the US a lot of money for stealing this. US, they're probably going to do more independent research and step away from Taiwan. And this might be good for China, who are actually, they're also a little bit behind on the chips, especially for AI chips, which I think is super important. But because of this, if America are not working with Taiwan, then I can see China quickly catching up, because they're putting a lot of innovation in, especially in my university, working on this technology. So I think the US, they could fall behind if they do this strategy. Next one is setting 60% tariffs on Chinese products, which is just absolutely insane. I'm not too convinced he's going to do that. Currently, they've got these huge tariffs on EVs, which I think is just absurd, because, I mean, Germany, they've been doing exactly the same thing, having cheap cars compared to the American counterparts, and they've been selling them all around the world in masses, over-reliance on German cars, and they don't get any sanctions. In China, for some reason, they do. And who's this going to harm? It's going to harm the consumers, yeah? So when you can't buy a lot of cheap products, well, you're going to affect the global supply chain, and there's going to be huge price hikes. There's going to be no competition suddenly. So I just think it's going to harm the average person. So maybe he might try it, but I think he might realize quickly this is not going to work. Yeah, like with more countries working with China, as you can see around me now, all of these, it seems, and also with BRICS, right? There's this whole collaboration with many countries in Asia, India, Russia, China, all working together now to kind of fight against this American superpower. And so we might see some countries retaliating against what the US are doing at the moment. That'd be very interesting to see. So we're entering into the medical equipment and healthcare products here, and this is one of the most interesting ones for me. There are many pharmaceutical companies here coming into China, a lot of medical ones, and they want to use the AI that China has, okay? So my PhD is all about using AI to detect cancer. I'm analysing medical images, so I work with a lot of hospitals. So I've seen how AI has been used in hospitals. China, they've actually produced the first fully AI-operated hospital. I think it'll probably come out maybe end of this year or next year. It's one to watch out for. I'll make a video on that one. Anyway, this all ties into Trump. What's Trump going to do with AI? Okay, so under Harris, if Kamala Harris, had she won, she would have wanted to tighten AI up. There were lots of restrictions under the Biden administration. Kamala wanted to make it worse. Trump, the other way. He's trying to get rid of all the executive orders. He's trying to free it all up. No censorship, okay? As someone in AI, okay, I think AI is really important. It is the future. But I do think there needs to be a balanced approach, okay? You can't just go all gung-ho, right? You need to have some safety in there. Because after all, look, I mean, there's this company, right, called 11 Labs. And that allows you, right, to basically mimic any person you like, anyone, whoever you want. You just need to get their audio, upload it. You can be whoever you want. So you can make a phone call, maybe to some office, and you'd be like, hey, I forgot my key. Can you just let me in? Yeah, sure, no problem. Come on in, Jeff. And then you can just steal all the company information, whatever, I don't know. But it gets worse, right? What if terrorists are to use AI? What if militaries are to use AI for the wrong purposes? I think the lack of ethical concern by Trump is concerning. There absolutely needs to be some safeguarding. And I think this could have strained relations with the EU. They have GDPR, really, really tight data protection rules. The US doesn't as much, okay? So you need to be really, really secure with your data when you're working in Europe, okay? I've worked in Europe before. And so I think if the US are to go the opposite way, then the EU might step back a little bit. Traditionally, they've done whatever the US have said. But this is a really, really big thing in Europe, and I don't think they're going to want to follow it. And so look, whether these European companies want to work with the US or not, they simply can't because of these GDPR rules. And I can honestly see that because AI is the future, literally all of these companies around me, not just the medical industry, every kind of company wants to use AI now, it's the buzzword, that they might want to look at other avenues. They might, just like all of these companies are doing, come to China, yeah? So they might move away from the US if it's just not practical, it's not possible. I don't know. This is a possibility. The EU, US, they could easily lose some key deals because of these opposite views. So like, you can kind of see that I think Trump, if these policies are to be followed through, these are kind of for short-term gains. Yeah, maybe it will improve the economy in a year or two, yeah, during his presidency. But long-term, not so much. It's very possible that they could have strained relations with many countries, China included, but I don't know. Because one thing during his presidency, one thing during the election campaign is that Elon Musk fully endorsed it. Okay? You could see it all over X, the social media platform, fully supporting Trump, saying, hey everyone, please, please, please vote for Trump, right? And now Musk, but the thing is that Musk has very good relations with China. He has his largest plant, his largest factory in Shanghai, where I am right now, okay? So he will want to have good relations with China. So I'm wondering, will Musk try to say something to Trump? Will he say, go easy on China, try to get some business here? Because I think, Musk, he'll want to have SpaceX, which is currently not feasible, it's not working here in China. Maybe he'll want to say, hey, Trump, go easy, and then maybe I can get SpaceX running. So it could be that Musk could be the hero that we never knew existed between the US and China relations. I don't know. But of course, we have had a Trump presidency before, and we have seen how he has dealt with China, and he was very strict, he was very hard on China. It was increased tariffs, tougher regulation. He withdrew many deals from Chinese organizations. So we might expect something similar, but China handled that very well. They are having less of a reliance on the US, just the US having less of a reliance on China. And so China, they work successfully with other countries. And so if the US were to go hard, it's not the end of the world. China, they're doing their own thing. You've seen with BRICS at the moment, yeah, they're having very good deals with many countries in the world now. But ultimately, the world is getting more and more chaotic, more divisive, and I really do hope that the US and China can work together. I think it will make it a much better place, especially with AI. You don't want to be fighting, you don't want to be competing against each other, putting sanctions on each other. AI will grow and grow if you work together, because data is the key thing. Okay, and China has that. They have the research, they've publish all the AI papers, much more than the US. They have much more data than the US. So I think just really the chips AI have that the US. It's really just the chips really that the US are winning on at the moment because of Taiwan though. So it's very complicated. They need to work together. I hope they work together. Let's see. And I hope you enjoy this video. And let's find out what happened. I will see you next time. I'm going to have a look around here. There's so much to see. It is huge. Bye-bye.